Well, here it is, finally, my Venus retrograde report. So this beginning part is going to be sort of my point form, abstract themes that are all going to be covering because I have so many notes, it's insane. Venus has been in Gemini since the beginning of April, and we're not going to be out of the effects of Venus in Gemini and the retrograde until we hit about the first week of August. So because it is Venus, it is about partnership. It's about love. It's about all kinds of relationships. The ideals of love, the mystical, all of the different forms of love that have been articulated by the ancient Greeks. It's an amazing time for creativity. It's an amazing time for art, for poetry, for music. This is also a great time for digital communication. So if you're developing apps, software, there's a synergy happening between Venus and Mercury. And so anything that has to do with social media, especially social media, this is a great time for YouTubers. It's a great time for people promoting themselves on the internet. It's also a great time for learning, education in your particular field, whatever that is. Training, reviewing, upgrading your credentials. Excellent time for study. But this is the idea phase, the brainstorming phase, so that when the planets are moving forward again, we have all the information that we need. We've gathered all the tools necessary, and we can now proceed with a far more refined, reorganized, and workable plan to move forward. People who are on a spiritual path, who are stepping into their gifts and abilities in this regard, those who are seeking a deeper communion with the divine are likely going to find it. And then, the more vain things, because it is Venus and Venus is retrograde, it's a really bad idea to do impulsive haircuts, hair color, tattoos, all of that kind of thing. If you're going to do that kind of thing, it's because you've been working with somebody for a while on your design. Otherwise, you're really taking a chance. Be very careful about things like identity theft, especially if that's something that you've already been through. Venus in Gemini is going to stimulate a need for more freedom in relationships. So open relationships, all sorts of new sort of alternative ways to conduct relationships in this day and age. And, these things are already happening, but they're definitely going to get more support. Gemini is all about social. This is the season of the sapiosexual. So intellect is going to be an important factor in attraction. It's really not the best time to start a relationship. And in fact, it seems as though the theme of this particular Venus retrograde in Gemini is the kind of thing that's actually going to break relationships apart. We're looking at a lot of temptation towards toxic habits such as codependency, deceit, betrayals, acting out, and the danger zones for acting out are going to be anywhere from the last week of May through until mid-June. And again, there's this tendency towards impulsivity. And indiscretions, infidelity, love triangles. All of these things are definitely possible. It's not about preventing karma. It's about focusing on the karma that we've come here to deal with. If your relationship is not sturdy going into this transit, you're probably going to be dealing with a complete and total breakdown. But it's important to trust that this is divinely orchestrated, that whatever is leaving, the better you get at letting go of it, the faster you're going to get to your next destination in your story. The other kinds of low vibrational things is going to be entitlement. It's going to be acting out under the stress of being confined for so long. I'm also anticipating that by the way that the astrology is working, that something is going to happen in the collective that's going to actually make the lockdown even tighter. If we learn not to become attached to certain outcomes, we'll see that there's been a natural course of events that have been set into motion. So depending on your sign, the focus is going to be maybe a little bit different than somebody else, but these are just the general themes that we're all passing through right now through the collective. So how that applies to you is going to be your personal experience. It's ultimately your choice as to how you want to deal with the energies that are present for you now. So when we get to the mid-June zone, things are going to get pretty uncomfortable for most of us. That uncomfortability is about moving us out of whatever we've become too comfortable with. The other things that we need to be careful of is how we're dealing with truth in our lives and whether we're sticking closer to wishful thinking. But what all of this is bringing us to our sense of our own truth. We know what truth feels like. We know when we're living it, and we know when we're not. Venus retrograde in Gemini is going to encourage reason over passion. At the end of the day, self-love leads to better relationships across the board. Self-care is everything right now. And the more you take care of yourself, the more it's going to change the energy of all your relationships. It is your responsibility to put yourself first. We're all at different stages of learning, and it's going to be important through all of the tension that we're all going to be feeling to be compassionate to each other and to not get stuck in that thought pattern of, I'm in this all by myself. We are all walking a similar path. We're just expressing it in different storylines. So there's my all over the board themes for Venus retrograde. I'm going to be covering a lot more of these dynamics when I hit the new moon in Gemini report, when I hit June's report. We're going to be talking about Venus retrograde all summer long. So stay with me and enjoy your reading. Hey Sagittarius, and welcome to your reading for Venus retrograde. And this Venus retrograde is actually happening in your 7th house of partnership. So you will be focusing on your closest partnerships, your relationships, whether they're work or romantic or the person that you're living with, an established partnership. Right now, it's a time of testing. So it's all about communicating how you're feeling around new routines within your relationship, about de-stressing the environment that you both share so that you can both thrive in your various projects that you're doing separately and the ones that you're doing together, especially under this quarantine. Not a bad idea, so that you're not distracting, so that mundane things are not distracting you from the kinds of things you need to be focusing on in your relationship. And it is going to include stuff like work-life balance kind of thing. So that's what's happening for you, Sag. So I am going to pull the tarot. I'm using the Klimt deck to do the main spread, and then I'll be clarifying with good old Rider-Waite, and then I got a couple other card pulls too. So let's just start off with 9 of these and see what the focus is for you. So that's 3, 4, 5, excellent. 4 more, please. Oh, it's a beautiful day today. All right, the sun is shining bright on your spread today, Sagittarius. And there we go, 9 cards. Okay, so what are the surrounding energies for your specific situation? The Knave of Swords. So yes, it is about communication. Yeah, you could be also taking advantage of the energies that this Venus retrograde is supplying for online communication. Often, the Knave of Swords is about communicating online. So you could have some social media work that you're working on. So let's see how that is relating to everything else. Oh, look at that. You got the stars. So, you know, you got some twinkly energy around you right now, Sagittarius, which is fantastic. Because it looks like in the past there were things around boundaries, things around walking away, and some fights, maybe even. So right now, though, oh my goodness, we're experiencing a renaissance in love, and also your intuition is off the charts. There's something about the energies right now that that really has your psychic senses. Your third eye is probably functioning very well, which is definitely going to be working to your advantage over the next little while. In the future, we've got the Moon and the Five of Pentacles and the Fool. So this new moon in Gemini that's coming on May 22nd may be highlighting some issues around finance. And the news may not be good, but let's get into clarifying here and see what's going on. Okay, so the information regarding this financial situation is going to kind of come all at once, and I'm thinking that it will be connected somehow, either to the new moon in Gemini on the 22nd of May, or then possibly the full moon lunar eclipse that's June 5th, which has got crazy aspects for everybody. But what it is going to do is there's something about this situation that's going to provide you with an opportunity. Oh my. Yes. It's going to provide you an opportunity. Wow, we got two queens. The Queen of Swords and the Queen of Wands. So, Sag, this may be you, and you may be working with a Queen of Swords, which is an air sign. That's Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius. To create something. Like, it's kind of like you're going to take advantage of some aspect of this situation to manifest something really big. So that's kind of interesting. Let's get some clarity on the Five of Pentacles. Okay, so the Five of Pentacles is being clarified by the Knight of Pentacles. So it could mean that you see the opportunity to manifest, but the gate's not going to open when you want it to. Yeah, because there's still information that's coming, and there's a certain circumstance that you need to surrender to more. And yeah, it looks like there's going to be some arguments around this, but there will be apologies afterwards too. So it's kind of like, you know how sometimes financial crisis can trigger different circumstances for people where, you know, it just starts a fight and you just kind of start fresh afterwards. So what's this leap of faith that Sag is going to be taking? Well, you're going to be going for it. Little Knight of Wands. And it's going to change everything. Everything. Yeah, and there you go. You got the star again. So that full circled right back to the center of your reading. Just saying. So there could be an Aquarius somewhere in the equation for you. But it also could just be, you know, that whatever it is you're working on, this manifestation stuff that you're dealing with, that it's really going to show some promise, but you're really not going to see it until all of this planetary action settles down. So it's a time to be patient, you know, and trust, have faith that whatever financial situations you are running into right now are temporary, you know, and that while it may be tempting to really get in there, and maybe even these are old patterns that you're shedding of the kind of fights that can happen when money troubles come around. So at any rate, let's go to the Lenormand, see what sort of symbolism we can get to enhance our understandings here. Ooh, the Rider. So moving quickly, you know. Ooh, look at how the sun is on that. That's really pretty. So at any rate, with the Rider, that really is about taking advantage of an opportunity. I think that it's like there's one facet of this idea that you have for the future that you need to deal with, and deal with it quick. You need to get it on it. But the results from whatever that action is are not going to pay off until later. Okay? So let's just see here if we can get some more. What else? Yeah, and that this is about family and legacy, and yeah, and being at a crossroads. So whatever the situation is going to change things not only for you, but for the people around you. Ooh, and we got the snake underneath everything. So there may be somebody lurking around who does not have the best of intentions, but by the looks of the other cards, you're pretty much, you know, you're good with anything. And that may be part of what comes up in terms of your financial. Maybe there's somebody that you're involved with who did something not so good with the money that you share, or that the money that you're earning together. So let's see here. We've got for your chakra, which one is the one that needs the work? Oh, the sunshine is lovely today. So pretty. There it is. Okay, I'm going to take that one. The heart chakra. So, you know, in your house of partnership, look at that. Light that puppy up by the sun. Yeah, it's definitely a time to keep your heart open. And I just peeked and saw the base chakra. You know, if you're just having some of your base chakra issues kind of messed with right now, you know, the sort of lack versus abundance kind of thing. So I wouldn't get too caught up in it, though. I would be mindful of the things you have to move on right away, but just try to be patient. And if you do have a little bit of a hiccup financially, it's going to be short-lived. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found the astrology insightful. And have a great day.